Welcome back to English from A to Z, English in real life. If you're learning English, you know that feeling, right? Your brain is just racing to translate from your native language, and by the time you've got the words, the moment is gone. Well, today we're breaking down a method that claims to solve that exact problem by helping you think directly in English.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. We're looking at this really popular YouTube method that promises to totally change the way you think. It's all about tackling that exact moment. You know, that lag, that hesitation, when you're scrambling to find the right words.
It's such a common frustration, isn't it? Your brain is working overtime just to keep up. And like Emma from Speak English Daily says here, the opportunity to say what you want to say, it just vanishes.
Now, this feeling has a name. They call it the translation trap. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack. We're going to break this whole method down into 5 key parts, starting, of course, with the trap itself.
So, before we can talk about escaping this trap, we gotta ask, what exactly is this translation trap that so many of us fall into?
Okay, so it's basically this extra mental step. It's like having a little translator inside your head that has to approve everything before you can speak. And man, is it slow. It creates this bottleneck that just kills your natural, fluid speech. This whole method is designed to get rid of that step for good.
So, if that's the big problem, what's the solution? Well, the method they propose is refreshingly direct.
That's it. That's the whole game. The entire approach is built on this one simple but honestly pretty profound principle. It's not about memorizing more words, it's about fundamentally changing how your brain even gets to those words in the first place.
And how do they do it? By creating direct connections in the brain. It's a lot like how we all learned our first language. Think about it. When you were a little kid, you saw an apple and you learned the word apple. You didn't translate it from some other language first, you just connected them.
To build that direct connection, the practice is broken down into 3 key stages. It's a really clever process that's designed to take you from just seeing the words and images together to eventually describing the world around you in English completely on your own.
Now, what's really smart about this is where they start. They don't throw you into the deep end with, complex grammar or abstract ideas. Nope. It starts with something we're all incredibly familiar with.
And why the daily routine? Well, think about it. It's universal. The language is practical. You use it all the time, and you can apply it to your own life immediately. It makes it the absolute perfect foundation to build on.
They use these short, super simple sentences that describe everyday things. Sentences like, I wake up at 7, or my personal favorite, coffee makes everything better. So true, right? And each of these little sentences is paired with an image, and it's repeated 3 times to really help forge that direct mental link.
But here's the thing. These simple sentences aren't just meant to be memorized one by one. The real goal is to use them as building blocks for something much, much bigger.
And just how big of a toolkit are we talking about here? In the very first lesson, the goal is to master 60 of these core sentences. 60! That is a huge foundation for describing your entire day.
And this is where it all just clicks. The method shows you how all those simple building blocks you just learned can be woven together into a natural story. All of a sudden, you're not just reciting facts, you're actually narrating your life.
The promise here is that storytelling, a skill that can feel so advanced and out of reach, becomes accessible almost right away. The claim is that anyone can learn to do this just by connecting these simple pieces together.
Which brings us to the ultimate payoff, right? The big promise of this whole method, the long-term change it's trying to create in your brain.
What they're saying is that with consistent practice, you're not just memorizing stuff. You are literally building new English pathways. You're rewiring your brain to process the language differently.
All of these outcomes point to one big goal: making English feel automatic.
It's all about firing that internal translator so you can just speak with confidence and flow and tell your own story effortlessly.
And really, it all comes back to this one powerful idea. This is how we all learned our first language as kids. Not with grammar tables or translation, but through direct association, connecting what we see and experience with the words to describe it.
So, when you boil it all down, what's the key takeaway here? We've looked at how this method points out a huge problem, that translation trap, and then offers a really structured, visual way to retrain your brain. And it leaves us with a pretty compelling thought. Maybe the secret to fluency isn't out there in some complex grammar book, but it's right here in the simple story we live every single day.